What's up, everyone? Welcome to the Tell Me More podcast presented by Major League Success. I have Dylan Knecht with the Dylan Knecht Group at Remax Apex. He's also one of the owners of Remax Apex. And Dylan, I'm super excited to have you on just to talk your real estate business and your journey getting into the business. And I've gotten to know you over the last 2.5 years now.
Yeah,
3 years maybe. And we had your dad on here as well. He was one of my very first guests. So I'm excited to kind of get your side of growing up in the business and getting into the business. And we always start here on the Tell Me More podcast with the beginning. What was your childhood like?
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm excited to get into all of it. My childhood was a lot different than a lot of our colleagues that we're talking to every day. I was homeschooled through elementary school until middle school. And growing up homeschooled with a dad in real estate who's a business owner meant I went on a lot of pretty different field trips than your average elementary school kid. Back in that time, dad was doing a lot more appraisals than sales and not being a broker yet. So I was going with him all the time up to different mortgage companies to, network, say thanks for the business that they were sending over to dad and his company. And my favorite was going through all the bank repos that he was appraising. So while little siblings were at home with mom, I was like 7 and 8, and I was like, all right, dad, we're going to go look at these drug houses. Sweet.
He threw you into the real life experience early on, right? There was field trips every single day.
Yeah, right. I vividly remember it was 7th grade, and it was go with your parent to work day. So we didn't go to school that day. Me and a buddy, we went with my dad, and the pictures we were able to show the teachers of us looking at houses with graffiti on the inside. They're like, "Oh, what were you guys doing?"
What did you learn today? What did you learn today?
Yeah, right. I learned abstract art.
Yeah, exactly. Dylan, were you into sports or anything like that growing up?
Yeah, I played baseball pretty heavily growing up, travel baseball, and then with Carol at school. Fantastic of my parents. We were all up and down the East Coast all summer long, Florida, Myrtle, Georgia, everywhere in between. So
you actually traveled. You actually did a lot of travel baseball then.
Yeah, my 12U year, we played 105 games in 1 year. So we did a lot of baseball. Bless my parents, my grandparents. They were there for all of it. There was actually one season where I got sick for a couple months, and I missed more games than my grandma did in 9U.
That's awesome.
So,
I gotta ask, because I've had several people on here who their parents have, they were in the business, right? And
sure.
now they're in the business. Did you always have the desire to get into this business, or was it something that, you saw how everything worked and you're like, nah, that's not going to be for me?
Absolutely. No, that's a great question. So I always had an interest in real estate. I was always around it, whether it was, just riding in the car with dad and him talking over the speaker in the car on work calls, or actually starting when we were about 15, I think I did my first open house with them. And it was just, hey, we have too many houses to hold open. We don't have enough agents to do open houses this weekend. So my now wife, girlfriend at the time, me and one of my childhood friends, we spent quite a few weekends hosting open houses at 15 years old. It was a really cool little part-time job then. In the house, people walk in, they're like, why is there a kid here? And I'm like, hey, I can answer any of your questions, but if you want to talk numbers, you gotta call the boss.
Yeah.
So I did that. Was always helping out dad off and on growing up. But when it kind of got to end of high school and figuring out what was next, I was like, Dad, I'm not doing real estate. No way. My passion at the time, and still is a passion of mine, was education. I loved coaching youth sports. So naturally I went into special education in college. Didn't last very long. But so I was excited going to school. I got through about a semester. Simultaneously with that, dad did have me get my real estate license. He got me 1 week after high school graduation to start classes. I started I was like, it'll be a cool part-time gig while going to school. I can help dad out a little. I was going to school locally in Lancaster, going to play some baseball at OUL. and got licensed, started school, had clients, skipped class, had a closing, and quickly was, hey, Dad, I want to, do real estate. I don't want to do school and then teach and then have it's the same job every single day. And
Yeah.
before that, of course, he's been in real estate forever. And then it was like, okay, well, you got to talk to Mom.
Was it school just no longer interested you, or the subject didn't, or was it simply that you saw what you could potentially earn for yourself? Obviously, you kind of saw it with your dad, right? Doing appraisals and then
Sure.
selling and his clients, but it's not the same. I always tell people, like, especially their first commission check, right? I'm usually like, hey, that first commission check hits differently, right, than what you're used to,
Oh,
or
yeah.
just the financial side of it that really intrigued you, and you started to see what that potential could be.
Absolutely. So it was kind of a combination of things, right? So all throughout high school, I spent a lot of time coaching youth sports, coached upward basketball where I had a special needs child on my team. He had actually like 50 times the 3-point shooter I am. But so I loved it, wanted to do that. Spent some time at the local library here in Wagnalls that I currently chair the board, reading there to elementary age kids. Then I got, into a couple months of the first semester and I was like, wow, this is like really, really regulated. And it's not just go teach the kids, it's do all of these things. And I was like, I don't necessarily agree with all these things. So that was like, kind of like, this isn't how I envisioned it going.
Yeah.
And then, combine that with, I closed one closing during the fall semester there, my freshman year. Prior to the closing, all the time it was, do I go to this lecture? Do I do this showing that they want to see? And 9 out of 10 times the showing was what I picked.
Yeah.
When I had that closing and I was like, that is like more than a month of what my projected salary is after college. This could be really cool. I could have some time freedom. I could create financial freedom. And I was like, I owe it to myself to try.
Yeah.
So I told Dad, as I was saying, he was pumped. He was like, I told you this is what you're going to want to do. Like, I hate when you're right. And then,
but you had a little bit different of a unique, college. You also were going there to play ball too. Right?
Yes, that was honestly, if I wasn't planning on playing baseball there, I probably would have dropped out sooner.
Yeah.
It was cool. There was multiple guys on the team because OUL Lancaster, it's right by where I graduated. There was multiple guys on the team that were upperclassmen when I was coming into high school. I made some good friends there. Practices were going really good. Coach was happy. Looked like I was going to be starting in the middle of the lineup. I was like, this is perfect. But school was not for me.
So when you got in, I'm always intrigued, especially, with you being so young getting into the business. I would say on the younger side of the people that typically get into our business. Supporters, doubters. I mean, you're going basically from, hey, going down this path of going to school, getting a degree, going into teaching and education, to scratch that plan. Actually, I'm going to go do 100% commission-based business. Obviously, I'm sure you had the huge support of your dad, obviously being in the business, but you said you had to run it by Mom, but also like just in general, like, did you have more love, or did you have quite a few people like questioning what the hell you're doing?
Absolutely. There was plenty of love, especially from my immediate family. I mean, I had all the support in the world. Mom was super supportive. She did I remember actually we had like a formal sit down dinner. I took Mom out to dinner and I had like a little presentation prepared on, Mom, this is why real estate is going to work for me. And after that dinner, the drive home, she's like, yep, this is going to be perfect. You're going to be great. There were a couple distant family members that I wouldn't say that they were, hating on it, but hey, like, just because Dad does it, that doesn't mean it's going to be easy. I know. And then there was one particular, still one of my best friends, his girlfriend at the time, we were all hanging out and, I want to do that. That sounds fun. Like, I want to drop out of school. And she was like, that is the stupidest thing. I can't believe he's doing that, blah, blah, blah. And, it worked out just fine.
Yeah. The rest is history, right?
The rest is history.
So, being so young, you were what, 18, 19?
I
got your license.
Started classes like 3 weeks after my 18th birthday.
Yeah. dive into that first year, 2 years. I mean, you're so young, right? You're now having to talk to grown-ups that are 2, 3 times your age, maybe
Yeah.
even 4 times your age, on advising them on selling or buying or investing into probably one of the largest assets that they've ever had in their life. Um, what was that first couple years like for you? What success, struggles, how did you go about thinking about growing your business at 18 years old? Because it's not like your friends were buying, right? Um,
Absolutely.
so how did you go about getting business and what were some of those years like?
Absolutely. Yeah. So I got into it, I got licensed right as, summer was wrapping up, a little bit before the semester started. And I remember being licensed for like 3 weeks. And I was like, okay, Dad, no one has called me to buy or list a house yet. What is this all about? I just assumed I was licensed. I was Dylan. My people that know me would call me, and that was not the case. I'm very fortunate for kind of my upbringing and my parents, especially going to work with Dad. I was always used to interacting with adults from a young age, even into a teenager. I was really good at interacting with adults. Where some of my friends, it was way different. It was like a child talking to an adult. Where I felt like whether it was a teacher, a coach, a friend of the parents, or something, like I felt like I was always talking to an equal, and they respected that, and it was very good. So looking back, I'm like, wow, those clients trusted this 18-year-old kid. But at the time, really, I was confident because of my upbringing. My first real closing that was someone I didn't know going into it. I asked him at closing, I said, how old do you think I am? Like, I don't know, maybe 22. And I was 18 at the time. So that was cool. Um, but no, my first half of a year, the end of 2016, when I was in school, it was very part-time, living the college life, up on OSU's campus every weekend, hang out with friends, being a college student, juggling some showings on the weekend in the evenings. And it started out kind of slow. Like I said, I had one closing that first semester. Over right when that semester ended, took that winter break, got really serious. Kind of really January of 2017, I was like, I'm going to be a full-time real estate agent. And I started out, my first couple of years was all just sphere of influence, people I know, or like open houses, free marketing. I was 18. I didn't have a marketing budget.
Yeah.
Um, and just kind of soaked it all in. I spent a lot of time in the office, just hearing other experienced agents practice real estate. Um, Occasionally they would be like, hey, this is a absolute bottom of the barrel. I don't even know if I'd call it a lead at that point, but here's a name and a number. So I spent a lot of time basically calling stuff that wasn't good enough for them. And it went pretty good. I think I ended with 14 closings that first full year,
Wow.
which as a 18 and then second half of the year, 19-year-old college student, that was amazing. I was on top of the world.
Yeah.
Um, and at the time, I thought I was really grinding and working hard. And then looking back, I was like, man, you were kind of living the life. A couple hours of work a day, a couple showings a week, do some paperwork. It was pretty good.
Yeah. You were talking about, building through your sphere of influence and open house, kind of that free marketing. But I mean, from your sphere, was it your friends buying, or was it your friends' parents or people that they knew that they were referring you business to?
Absolutely. Yeah. So I had one friend the first year who was a year older than me. Um, his parents are full-time real estate investors that work with my dad and are amazing. They're super successful, been doing it forever. So he's my age. We grew up together. He started doing his investing. So I worked with him. But other than that, that first year, it was parents, friends. It was past sports coaches, and then some of mom's friends, because dad's in real estate. Dad's friends and family, they were kind of already dads. So
Yeah.
it's mom's friends, mom's side of the family, and then just adults that I know, whether it was, like we said, friends, parents, coaches, just adults in my life.
I have this conversation a lot with agents, and I'm just curious if you had any, um, and you may not have, but any real thought or strategy behind that. A lot of times when you hear the word sphere of influence in our business, immediately people just think of people that they immediately know, like in their immediate circle. And I'm always trying to have that conversation around, well, no, if Dylan's my friend, I would love to help Dylan, right? But the reality is I want Dylan's friends that aren't my friends, and I want Dylan's people that he knows, Dylan's sphere of influence. Um, did you put into any real strategy of making that happen? You know, building your sphere through your sphere?
Sure. Yeah. So that first year or two when I was doing 14, and the second year I think was like 18 or 19 closings, there was no strategy. It was post on Facebook, show people that I'm doing real estate, checking into my office meetings, posting about the book I just read, the training, just showing people in my life. Dylan is not a kid anymore. Dylan is a real estate professional, and he's actively doing it. That was really the only strategy I had. I didn't know what to do. I was reading every book, watching every YouTube video, trying to soak it all in, but I was just kind of doing it at that point.
Yeah.
Whereas I kind of got more intentional with my business after a couple of years. I don't know the exact date, but when I read 7 Levels of Communication, that one really got me. And that right there just made me think about business completely differently.
Well, what I'll get to that in a second. The whole posting, right? Like this is one of the things that I talk to a lot of agents about, on social
Mhm.
media. You can't be, that secret agent, and you can't be that person that always just posts the just listeds, the just solds, and hey, I work by referral, so if you know anyone, please have them call me. Like that post doesn't work. You mentioned that you let people know that you are actively out there doing real estate by documenting what you were doing, whether that
Mhm.
was, like you said, reading or checking into team meetings or checking into the office, or what I love to do all the time is check into a showing.
Yeah,
If I'm showing a house in Dublin, I'm going to check in to the city of Dublin and let people know that I'm out showing homes. I'm not asking for business, but I'm showing people that I'm doing business.
absolutely. Yeah. And at the time, and I've always been, playing team sports, grew up very team oriented. So kind of the fake it till you make it, the we, not me. It was always, we just sold this house. We have a buyer looking for this, until they were all my own clients at that point. But I was very happy to share my team success and, help it express myself as successful at the time.
Yeah, and I think that's a big misconception that, even as a solo agent, you have a team behind you, right? You can share your brokerage's stats. You can share, things that are going on within the office. You can talk about the closings and the in contract numbers and the, list price to sales price numbers. You can utilize all those things even as a solo agent.
Absolutely.
Um, because at the end of the day, people like doing business with people that they know, like, and trust, and they want to do business with people that are busy in the business, right? It's like, would you rather have surgery done on you by someone that does, that surgery once a month, or someone that's doing that surgery 30 times a month, right? And you got
Yeah.
to talk about it. You got to be about it. So the second thing I was going to ask you was, I've also read the 7 Levels of Communication. What was it about that book that really opened your eyes to how you wanted to go about building your business?
Absolutely. Yeah. So that book, as I said earlier, and as I always tell everyone, especially early on in the industry, that was a game changer for me. Um, Out here in my market, I saw a lot of the top high, super successful agents, and they had billboards. I knew my team lead at the time was spending a lot of money marketing, traditional marketing style stuff. And I didn't have the budget. And I was like, okay, well, I can do some sales, but I can't be that. I don't have that money yet. And hearing the story through the book, I love how it's actually a fictional story. So it's really easy to follow along. It's not boring. But then throwing away all that ad spend and focusing only on the people in your life and the people in their life. And that's where I kind of first understood, okay, I don't want to sell to my friends and family. I want to assist their friends and family. So then I was kind of right after that, I was very fortunate. A friend from high school, he started getting into some real estate investing, and we kind of learned that together. And then he sent me my first kind of referral where it was like, hey, I have a friend, they're doing this. I told him to call you. And I was like, That's awesome. That's what I want. And how do I reproduce that? And it really just comes down to, if I had to, in a short blanket statement, is just treat people right and let them know what you do. So I just kind of focused on that, adding value to people in my life, letting them know that I do desire referrals from them, because I like, if I like you, John, I'm probably going to like the people in your life and work with them well if I work with you well.
Yeah.
And just asking for that referral and adding value at any opportunity, even if it wasn't something in real estate. My dad kind of always taught me to be nice to everyone, help everyone. So if that was that friend that got stuck and ran out of gas and you needed to go help them, go help them.
Yeah.
Not even just for real estate purposes, just to be a good person, because you'd want that in return if you were in that situation.
Yeah. No, I love it. Dylan, talk about okay, your first couple of years, I think you said 14 first year, then I think you said you went to 18.
Yeah, 14 closings first year in 2016, and then it was just shy of 20 in year 2, and I guess it was 17 and then 18, because 16 was about half a year.
Lead us up to current day, because I know at one point, I think you had a team, a pretty decent sized team, and then obviously, now being part owner of the brokerage that you guys are a part of. Kind of lead me up to the next stages of your career, up to kind of present day.
Absolutely. Yeah. So as we heard earlier, education has always been a huge passion of mine. Loved being involved with education and youth sports growing up. And then in real estate, I joined a very large team right off the bat when I first got started. Dad had been with that team as long as I can remember. And I really loved the aspect of it, but I wanted kind of more involvement at the team leader, the teaching, the running the meetings. So after a couple of years of having some early success as a young real estate agent, I left the team to start my own team. And I had a colleague that I'd met in classes that joined my team. A friend of a friend at the time that was getting in joined my team. And then one of my best friends from high school joined the team. So I had kind of that little clan of a team starting, and it was so much trial and error. I was fortunate enough that I had some success early on, did some things right, treated some people right. And it was, how do I teach that to my team now to reproduce it? I, with the new agents, got into Facebook ads and Facebook leads for the first time. I was really lucky. I had a friend in the Texas market that taught me how to run ads for free through Facebook Marketplace. And I partnered up with one of my lenders. We practiced it, made it perfect, and we were getting 200 to 600 leads a day from Facebook Marketplace for nothing.
Wow.
Lowest quality lead ever. 9 out of 10 people, credit score was under 500.
And you weren't. Let me ask. You weren't spending any money.
Zero.
It was just posting.
Yeah. So you actually can't do it anymore. Facebook's gotten smarter and they want us to pay them, I guess. But at the time, we would go under housing for rent, and we would post in rather, 123 Main Street for $1,500 a month. It was, why buy a house or why rent a house when you could buy a house and build your equity? And then, the copy in the paragraph was something along the lines of, you don't need 20% down. We help clients with 0 to 3% all the time. You don't need perfect credit. 580 is a great starting point. And the copy changed over time.
Yeah.
And I remember my friend in Texas said, Dylan, just post this on Marketplace when you have a whole evening to reply to people. And I was like, okay. And I did not wait for the whole evening, by the way. My now wife and I were moving into our first house when I posted it. And we're in the middle of moving furniture. I posted it, and 60 minutes in, I'm like, 50 people have messaged me. So it was a huge numbers game. It was lifelong renters, not qualified, but we spent a lot of just, elbow grease, calling them, texting them, converting them.
Yeah. It's one of those things where it's like, back when I got into the business, we used Craigslist all the time.
Yeah.
I don't even know if people get on Craigslist anymore, but
it
was Craigslist.
Make you feel old.
Huh?
Supposed to ask you what that is to make you feel old, right?
But we would do the same thing. It was basically Facebook Marketplace, right? You'd post your listings. Wow. A lot of times back then it was, get a free list of foreclosures in X area, and you would generate the leads that way. So I didn't even know that was a thing on Facebook Marketplace as a way to do it. I wasn't I wasn't into social media at that time as much as I am today, but that's awesome. That's a great story.
2018, 2019, early 2020, and then they just kind of got rid of it. We'd have a post up after a day had been deleted by Facebook. I spent like 9 months not being allowed on Facebook Marketplace because they banned that from my account. And I was like, dude, I just want to buy some used golf clubs or something. Like, I'm not even trying to run ads anymore. But no, it was, at the time, it was exactly what my team needed. We had a few people at the start. We were getting some leads, it wasn't crazy. We weren't closing like 10 of these guys a month, but we were closing a few of them.
Sure.
My team, I really loved running the team meetings. It was really cool running a real estate team meeting, and the oldest person in the room is like 24. Scaled the team up. I think at the highest with my team before we opened the brokerage, there was 13 of us, including myself.
Wow.
So I got the team up, was all young agents around my age that just wanted to learn how to do it. Eventually, Dad came over and joined us. He's like, hey, I'm really proud. I'm like, love seeing where you guys have gotten. This is crazy. This is insane. I didn't think it'd ever get to this point, but like, I want to come help now. And he just brought so much value in helping with, the real estate side of real estate, doing the transaction, evaluating the property. He brought that, as he calls himself, the crafty veteran knowledge.
Yeah.
Is exactly what we needed at that time to scale even more.
Yeah.
So we had a great few years on the team. Team of 20-year-olds closing over 100 houses a year was awesome. And then Dad and I made kind of the mutual decision, like this brokerage is the next step for us.
What about that decision? Because I'm just trying to rack of who we all had on here that made that decision to go the brokerage route. There's a couple. For you, what was it? What was it that you wanted to take on that responsibility of opening up a brokerage, in the area that you guys serve?
Absolutely. Yes. So I ran my team in Groveport, which is about 15, 20 minutes from where I grew up, where I spent my early adulthood years living. And it was awesome, but wanted to open the brokerage for a couple of reasons. A, I wanted to build my brand for myself that I could have forever. I didn't want to continue growing someone else's brand when who knows what could happen to that brand. The owner of my company was much older than me. And I know that I'm going to be here practicing real estate longer than them. So I didn't want to mid-career have to make that next switch because I'm out of options. Likewise, we wanted to open up a better storefront. So we absolutely love our office now. It's in Lithopolis. It's in my hometown. It is literally like the best building that we could have for our office. And with that, we wanted a permanent brand in that office that's not going to leave. We didn't want to be a rotating billboard out front.
Yeah.
So that was kind of what did it for us. And then we also, I felt like on my team, I was kind of, and we've talked about this a little bit, John, but I was limited to recruiting people that were at a earlier place in their career than I was, or having less success than I was. If I was a 8 out of 10, I couldn't recruit a 9 out of 10 and lead them effectively from that position.
Yeah.
So it was kind of that lateral move to leverage and increase better opportunity for us.
No, I love it. And there's those different stages of a real estate business and running a team. And, I think that brokerage model, taking that next step is, just really taking on, some extra rules and responsibilities, right? To, like you said, create a little bit more leverage to expand, a little bit further out than maybe what you could have done with just the team concept, the team model that you were working with. So Dylan, I want to kind of now switch gears, and I want to kind of look more into the future, right? As far as growth and mindset and where you guys, want, whether it's you and your team and or the brokerage, right? Because now you have two entities, right? You have the brokerage to grow and then your own personal business and team to grow. What's something that you're looking to accomplish in the next 12 months?
Absolutely. So we have been, and honestly, thanks to your help as my real estate coach, John, me and my team have been perfecting or trying to perfect it. It'll probably never be perfect.
Never.
Our systems to make it feel like, we're ruling the day, the day's not ruling us. So that has been a fantastic work in progress. We've been, 4 to 6 months really working hard on that. And I want to spend pretty much the rest of this year getting as close to perfect on that as we can. Hopefully I can do twice the production I'm doing now, but still feel like it's taking the same time commitment and stress levels.
What's something that you guys are looking to do with the brokerage on the brokerage level?
Absolutely. So we are we opened, summer of 21. So we're kind of just still new on, early on in our brokerage, but we're just looking to add more agents. We just went over 20 agents, which is awesome.
Yeah.
Hopefully 5 years now, I'm looking back and that is such a tiny number. Just continuing to add agents, but quality over quantity. We don't want to just have a ton of agents to have a ton of agents. We want agents that actually make real estate a priority. It's, not saying it has to be the only full-time endeavor, but you have full-time commitment to it. I think is a good way to put it. It's not just a hobby.
Yeah.
It's not just something fun. It's something that, you're serious about.
I like that. I like what you just said, full-time commitment. It's like you can do, have another career and still be full-time in real estate, in my opinion. Right. But I think that's the separator is what you said. I like that, is the commitment, right?
Absolutely.
Are you going to be part-time committed or full-time committed? Even if you have another career, you can still be full-time committed to doing this business. And honestly, I think, it's one of the downsides to our businesses is it's so easy to get into the business. And, I always looked at it as if I'm helping deal with someone's, and I don't know if it's because I got in when I was 22 and I don't know, I just made it a bigger priority than some people do, is I'm dealing with someone's largest investment. And when I got in, I got to see the bad side of foreclosures and short sales and bankruptcies when this investment is managed the wrong way for people. And some of it was out of their control, right? People lost jobs and, things happened. But I love that full-time commitment,
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's countless agents that I know that have a 40-hour a week W-2 job, and they spend more time on their real estate business than someone that real estate is their only source of income and their only gig. So it's just about prioritizing and, skills like time blocking, stuff like that, I guess.
Yeah. What's something that you guys are looking to accomplish over the next 5 years?
Absolutely. So likewise, growing the brokerage, growing the team, growing production, obviously all that stuff, it's pretty apparent. That's why we're in real estate, is to grow those. But really just being a strong product and member of the community as an office. We still have that small town feel out here. And whether it is fun events to open up our awesome space to the community after hours or on the weekend, or it's, we do drives for charitable causes to hopefully get some revenue to donate to charities we're passionate about. Stuff like that, just being a member of the community that's respected, being more than just a boring real estate office in town is the goal and kind of the legacy we want to leave behind here.
Yeah. What do you think that you guys need to do in order to continue that growth and not just from the team side, but from the brokerage side?
Absolutely. So first and foremost, I think it is always treating agents right, whether it's an agent we are co-oping with and representing opposite parties in a transaction, whether it's an agent we bump into out on showings, our leadership team at the office, we always need to do right by real estate agents. I think simultaneously with that is getting the message out there about our office, because there are still agents right here within 10, 15 miles of our office that don't know that we're here. They don't know about our building. They don't know about what we have to offer. So we have to make sure that we're getting that message out there and that we want like-minded agents to collaborate with.
Yeah, I think alignment, is, to me, that's important to me as well, right? Like doing business with the people that you want to be doing business with.
Yeah.
And I know you mentioned it earlier, it's not necessarily to I don't want to say this in the bad way or the wrong way, but not here to just collect bodies, to collect people, but to actually do business. And when someone walks through the front door, there's that community, that unity of, we love being here because we love the people that are here.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, that you said that perfectly.
I know you're younger than me, so this might be a tough question for you. But what's a legacy goal of yours? What's something that you want to hit when you're no longer here?
Absolutely. That's a great question. And I'm curious to see what would my answer have been 6 years ago to now to what will it be when I'm 30. Who knows, but I want to be a strong member of the community here in Fairfield County. I chair the board at a nonprofit at the Wagnalls Memorial. That's very important to me. I just want to provide value to the community, whether that be using my, being fortunate to have a, hopefully a great income one day, using that to help causes that are important to me. Hopefully educating people on real estate, on the market, or even just on investments in general. I don't want to be, oh, that's Dylan, he's the businessman. That's Dylan, he is a valuable member of our community. So whether that is, helping ramp up the sports in the future, the youth sports in here, going back and coaching youth sports, all of that stuff. I want to be more than just a real estate agent, more than someone collecting a paycheck. I want to be someone that people, they seek for guidance and help.
All right, everyone, you guys heard it here first. We're going to get Dylan's name on a building somewhere in Lithopolis.
One day, maybe one day.
Dylan, I want to be, respectful of your time, and we always end, our podcast with just this one last question, and I'd be curious to kind of hear yours, especially one, growing up in the business, two, getting in so young. The majority of people that get into our industry, it's not their first career choice. Usually it's their second, third, fourth, fifth. Usually it's later in life. They're 30s, 40s, 50 years old, and they're getting in. But if you could give our audience one piece of advice, maybe it is that person, that kid in school that maybe knows college isn't the path for them, and maybe real estate is at 18 years old, or just that agent that maybe is out there struggling. What piece of advice would you give someone?
Absolutely. So the best piece of advice I could give anyone in that spot is you are a real estate agent, but more importantly, you are a business owner. There are real estate duties such as going on showings, writing contracts, doing listing agreements. And that is all tasks or part of the job. But there are parts of it, business owning, whether it's prospecting to get clients to help in your business, whether that is, setting up your marketing for the year, whether that is having networking meetings with affiliates to align yourself with, to leverage, to enhance both of your businesses. It took me a couple of years to realize that there is more to real estate than just the real estate stuff. You are a business owner, and there are so many different ways that you can have a successful real estate career, John. We practice our businesses completely differently, and there's not a right or wrong way to do that. So it's, find a way that you like to generate business, find a way that you like to manage your business, and find the types of people that you like to work with. Because if you're liking what you're doing as a business owner, you're going to be able to stick around and do it a heck of a lot longer, in my opinion, and commit a lot more time to it, frankly.
Yeah, I mean, that's well said. I love it. I think that was one of the things that I didn't really understand getting in, was the business aspect of it. I didn't know anything about business.
Right.
And I think a lot of people that get into our business don't really know much about business, right? So I love that, just really understanding that, even as a solo person, you still have to treat yourself as if you're running, a restaurant, or, a car detailing shop, or whatever other business entity that's out there. So
Absolutely.
Dylan, so for those that are, listening in on the podcast, and maybe it's, someone who's in the area that wants to buy or sell, or maybe it is a real estate agent that wants to just connect with you to, pick your brain on real estate, or, opening up a franchise, and your own brokerage there. What's the best way for someone to reach out to you to connect?
Absolutely. Well, I love connecting with everyone. I've had so many people in my life that have just for free given me all of the information I could ever ask for, answered all my questions. So I always love the opportunity to do that and hopefully help someone else out. Like, I've been so fortunate to have people help me. I would say the best way, you can either add me on Facebook, just on my personal account, which is Dylan Knecht, or catch me on Instagram at Dylan_realtor. Shoot me a message, comment on something. We can connect farther. Always happy to sit down for coffee, or if you're a little farther away, do a Zoom and just exchange information and see how we can all help one another.
I love it. Dylan, thanks so much for taking time out of your day, jumping on here. I know, one thing that you're working on is getting more comfortable with video, and, jumping on here today with me to share your story. And, as always, if there's anything I could do for you guys, I'm only a phone call, text away.
Absolutely. Well, I appreciate it, John. And thank you for all that you do just for our local and even, the real estate community in general.
Oh, I'm like you, education, right? It's one of my missions as well. So, Dylan, thanks so much. I won't keep you any longer. I appreciate you.
Right on. Thanks, John. Have a great rest of the day.
All right. See ya.